Okay, let's go.
He wants to jump
1,000 cars. Sir, you have 1,000 cars.
I don't think I'd attempt to try this stunt.
Or we owe this horsepower to Uncle Sam.
Too many cars.
Car. You know, roses would be...
Like I put my beer belly on it.
If you can't immediately tell somebody how many cars you have.
You'll really give those uppity yuppies something to think about.
Stay on the bar. Don't go off the bar with your Bronco.
1980 Volvo horns, what's right?
Yeah.
I want a man's coolant.
And he's like, oh, I thought it'd be small. It's for a small car. And I'm like, yeah, but it's still an automatic transmission. They're never going to be light.
It's definitely going to have to crash.
Starting off with Brad buying another car.
That's the West.
Internet. You know, is this a Nigerian oil print?
I also wish you drove a tan Camry.
Anyways,
Anyway,
that's a
horrible,
very
horrible podcast
that's
content.
a very
Talking about a picture.
inside joke.
It loves to be driven hard.
Welcome to Auto Off Topic. How are you, Brad?
Evening, Andrew. I'm wonderful. How are you?
Good. We're kind of splitting the difference with this episode. We didn't release last week, but we're releasing the week of Thanksgiving because we probably won't record the middle of the week because that pesky Thanksgiving holiday is right in the middle of the week.
It is this Thursday. And we have a gigantic Thanksgiving here this year, apparently.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, we have a Thanksgiving serving size of Project Car Updates, I think.
We hope it's actually smaller than my Thanksgiving this year because thankfully not at my house, but at Naomi's son Jordan's house. We're hosting, or I guess he's hosting. We would have done it here, but
many
with the
people?
garage construction and everything. It's 37 people.
Okay. I don't think,
So,
I've been to your house. I don't know about 37 people.
no, it's not going to work. It would have worked in the backyard, but the backyard is we're like growing grass and there's dogs and the garage, and it's just not.
Should have had it in the garage.
Here. The conversation has been conversated.
It's a banquet hall.
Yes, Christmas may be in the garage. We'll see.
That sounds pretty fun, actually.
Yeah, it does sound fun.
You get a mega tree in there.
37 people, and like 24 of them are children. So it should be
With that ceiling height, you could easily get a 10-footer in there, a tree.
a 10-footer. I can get a 20-footer in there. You can go.
Well, it gets
all
wider at the base, so you take up a lot of floor space. So you gotta.
It's wintertime here. I can put a car outside. It's all right. The sun's not
temper
as
it.
brutal. It's fine. No, I'm not going to put a tree in the garage. That's not happening. So, anyway, we got off topic. We talked about a Thanksgiving portion of Project Car Updates. So, since you are the one who brought it up in that form, what kind of Project Car Updates do you have?
Well, the head is done. The machine shop called me. I got to go up. I'm going to go up Tuesday. Pick it up, drop off the block, and that's really where I'm at with that. So I'm excited to see what it looks like all cleaned up and fixed. And hopefully, they don't take it was only like 2 weeks took them. So hopefully the block doesn't take much longer than that.
It probably
3 weeks. And then we'll start working on it, get it back together.
That's exciting. So you should hopefully have this car running for the spring.
Definitely running for the spring. I'm hoping, depending on how many snowstorms we get, if it's like decent weather, we'll just be working on it.
Okay. That should be good. I mean, the past few winters have not been snow heavy or even super cold. So if it goes along that same trajectory, then you'll probably be all right.
Yeah. And it's really just like we can assemble an engine in my dad's garage. It's got heat on like a weeknight if it's not nasty out. So
yeah, absolutely. Shouldn't be a big deal at all. Awesome. Exciting.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Update. Yeah. So we don't really have a Thanksgiving sized portion. We have more like that second meal after Thanksgiving dinner. Like it's like leftover turkey sandwiches. That's our portion size for Project Car Updates. Because I only have one myself. But
okay.
I think that last time we spoke, I had gotten the truck running. Correct?
Yeah, it was running. You had it run for like 30 seconds, you said, or something.
Yeah, a little less than that. Did I have new parts yet, or is that since last episode? I think.
The new free parts you got from Josh, you had picked those up. Yep.
So I'd already done that.
I think you talked about getting those. Yep.
Man, I'm a slacker.
And you had found the carb parts, the adapter plates you bought without realizing it.
Yes, I had those. So that's how the car was running. Okay, so then the truck update is I didn't work on it at all for a whole week and a half, but I was out there working furiously all day today. Furiously meaning a lot, not angrily, because actually everything went swimmingly well. I thought for sure that a few of these bolts are going to fight me looking at them. Like there's one particular part that's like a metal shield, and I couldn't even see the bolts because they were encaked in the same color as the metal shield. And I was like, all right, this is definitely going to fight me. I got to go and break out all my New England rusty car skills here. So I pre-sprayed it down with some PP Blaster, and then I went in there, and it didn't even require force. It just opened. The bolt just came off, and I was like, oh, okay. Never mind. So Arizona cars, once again, winning at everything. They're ridiculous to work on.
There you go.
Except for, obviously, the Huntavirus, which I guess I'd rather have a rusty fastener than Huntavirus, but it's okay. So I was able to jack the truck up. I took all four wheels off the ground, have it on 4 jack stands. The front of the truck has very similar to the Montero style, where it has multi-piece metal. I wouldn't really call them skid plates. They're more like metal shields. The front one is a little bit more of a skid plate, but the one on the engine is more like if you hit a rock, you tear right through it. So it's not really a skid plate. It's more like a belly pan. So I pulled those off the truck, and they were obviously filled top to bottom with more mouse droppings and grossness in general, just pack rat life. So obviously I was out there in my full on, I had my going to Walmart in May of 2020 kit on. So, face mask, face shield, gloves. I didn't go that crazy in 2020, but I looked like somebody who went to Walmart in 2020. But it's the same kind of protection you need when you're dealing with the Huntavirus stuff, because that stuff is nasty. You don't want to get that in your lungs or in your eyes or in your mouth or wherever, or on your hands and then touch something. It's not good. So I put that whole outfit on and kind of cleaned up under there the best I could. I mean, it had whole trash bags worth of stuff just on top of these trays. So I got a lot of that done, a lot of that out of there. Kind of did some more exploratory looking around of things and such under the truck. Was looking for more wiring damage from those same Zed pack rats chewing the wiring. I did find a little bit more wiring on the transfer case. There's a switch on the side of the transfer case, which it's a mechanically actuated transfer case, so I assume it's just for the light on the dashboard. But that will need to be rewired, so that's not a big deal. And the whole big plan today, because why I jacked the truck up, was I was going to install that new fuel tank. And while I was installing the new fuel tank, I said, well, I'm under there. I might as well just replace all the fuel lines rather than put a new fuel tank in and then have questionable fuel lines and then try to run it and have issues. So that's what I did. I put the truck in the air, had it ready. I dropped the tank. Now, dropping the tank on this truck, there was that metal shield I was talking about that I thought was going to be rusty. It's inside the wheel well, and it protects the filler neck from like road debris coming off the tire. So that was the one shield I had to move out of the way. But once I pulled that shield off, you can see the whole top of the tank, the whole side of the tank, every line, and the connector for the sending unit are all like right there, exposed within reach, which makes it super easy. I wish every vehicle was as easy to work on as an early Mitsubishi truck. It's so simple. And I think a lot of the issue, or a lot of the reason it's so simple, is that all of these mechanical parts are the same as what's on the Mitsubishi cars of the era. Like the engine, the transmission, everything is just the same as the Sapporo or a Colt. But it's in the, slightly bigger frame and body of a truck. So there's just all this acreage of room and space to work on it. It's pretty amazing, actually. Everything I've touched and everything I've done has really not taken much time or effort, or like, every car has that one thing you have to like contort weird to get into there and reach it. So far, nothing. I'm sure there's something, but so far, nothing. It's been absolutely amazing to work on. So as of right now, to record podcast, the new tank is not in. It is under the truck. I had to spray paint some bare metal on it because I didn't want rust. So I'm waiting for that to dry. When we're done with podcast, I'm going to go back out in the yard and hang it up in the truck, replace all the fuel lines, and go from there. What I have done is I went under the hood and I pre-checked all the fuel lines with, I sprayed some PB Blast down the brake lines, and that was because the aerosol can that I had at hand. And the fluid came out the other end, so they're clear. I'm going to blow some air through them, make sure there's no other small blockages in there, and then just put all the new lines on, all the new soft lines, I should say, because it's all hard lines that go from the engine bay to the tank, and then soft lines from the end of those lines to the tank, and from the front end of those lines to the engine. So that'll all be fresh and new, and theoretically, the truck should run off of the factory fuel tank today. So that would be that should be a huge step. Maybe not today because a little bit late in the afternoon. I might not get it fully buttoned up, but certainly by tomorrow night for sure. So, and the goal is this Saturday, 4 till 4 is doing their vintage off-road event, and I won't say I challenged, but I made the challenge to Josh to get his truck done for that event, and also for me to get my truck done for that event. So hopefully we can both meet that goal. I know he's ahead of me because he drove his for a coffee run the other day. So
Yeah.
hopefully I can catch up. So we'll see what happens. His is also a bigger project than mine, but it's been going on longer than mine. So we shall see. Again, this truck has not moved in 20 years plus. So getting it running and driving is going to be a huge endeavor. But it seems like it might be possible. So we'll see what happens. I will also say that while I had it in the air, I checked all of this, important stuff, ball joints, wheel bearings, all that stuff, and everything is nice and tight on it. So there's no issues there right now. Eventually, I'm going to go through and probably rebuild all the front suspension anyway. But just for shakedown miles, everything is pretty tight and pretty safe. So I'm not stressed about it at all. So
Grease fittings? Just hit everything with grease.
I'm gonna clean everything up some more. Everything's still covered in mud, so I'm gonna break all the mud off and find grease fittings and grease everything up and do the best maintenance I can. But like I said, I went and did like the shake test on the wheels and made sure everything was reasonably tight for test driving, and it 100% was. So I have no concerns about that. But I am going to update everything. Like I said, I'll probably do, because a lot of like the ball joint rubber stuff is just kind of old and a little degraded. So I will do ball joints and tie rods, and it definitely is going to need shocks. So I'll do shocks. I'll do all that kind of stuff once it's running and driving. But I just kind of wanted to go under there and make sure everything was solid and would be good for some shakedown miles before I dig too deep into all that. But it kind of looks like it's going to be, so shouldn't be an issue. I will say one surprise: it does not have a standard Mitsubishi bolt-on fuel filter.
Huh? Yeah.
I mean, every other Mitsubishi's had that same fuel filter that slides into the metal bracket usually on the apron, and has like the banjo bolt top and bottom. This does not have that.
Cars do?
Yeah. The Sapporo does, for sure.
Huh.
Starion does, which is older than this truck. That's not carbed, but still it has one. But this truck does not have that. It just has a plastic inline held on with hose clamps. So, I mean, listen, that's fine with me. It's easier to deal with. So, I have a new fuel filter coming tomorrow, actually. They didn't have the right size. For some reason, O'Reilly's didn't have one with the right size barbs in stock. So they got one coming for tomorrow. So, but it's fine. I can literally just throw it in there after everything's all together. So I'm pretty excited because I mean this is going along pretty smoothly. Knock on wood.
Nice.
Always knock on wood. But I'll need to find probably some used tires for now. And like I said, I don't want to spend a ton of money on it until I have it, actually up and running properly and make sure everything's functioning, and then I'll go through it the rest of the way. I wish I could just run the tires that are on it, but they are way too old and dry rotted, so that will not be happening. So anyway, that's my big project car update. As of right now, it's not running. Well, it runs off of an auxiliary tank, but it's not running off the main tank. But it should be running tomorrow at the latest, I'd say. So not a huge bunch of progress, but actually it is a huge bunch of progress. I don't know what I'm talking about. Truck's almost done. So good stuff.
Yeah, good job.
And then this weekend was Kyusha Club, which is always a good time.
Yeah, how was that?
You'll have to make it out here for one of them sometime. It's literally worth a trip here for it, because it's like, here's what makes it awesome. The caliber. Go ahead.
It looked like California level stuff.
It is. The caliber of stuff that shows up, and I'm not talking about high-end stuff. I mean, we're not Ferrari, Porsche people, right? And there were a couple of Ferraris there. I mean, it's I think it's pre-05 is really the cutoff.
Yep.
And so even the Ferrari and Porsche stuff that goes there isn't like the newest, latest, greatest car I could see down the street at the Penske dealership, right? It's quality stuff from the 90s and earlier. So like there was a F355 Challenge car that was there. What's a car show nowadays without an RWB Porsche? So that kind of stuff was there. But on top of that, the other stuff that's there and is allowed to park with that stuff is just like there was that RWB Porsche, the next car over was a 77 Celica. So it's not like, and that was in the featured like indoor parking area, right? It wasn't like, it's not elitist. I don't know how to explain this show. It attracts the cars that you would think you'd have to go to like a traditional car show, not a Cars and Coffee to see. But it's just a Cars and Coffee. And he's managed to build this community and this whole like, without being a kid and saying vibe, but the vibes are just amazing. It's just such a cool event. And somehow he managed to get from the highest end car to the lowest end car. And there's no elitism and there's no bad. There's no bad. It's all just positive. I don't know how it happens. I don't know how he did it. It worked out, and the location is great, and that whole district in downtown Phoenix there is full of like murals and old buildings and new buildings, and it's a really, really cool event, and I hope it continues to go on for a long time. Unfortunately, it sounds like the building that they use, which is an old service station, is slated for demolition, so it could be another luxury high-rise apartment complex. So that will probably end, but hopefully the show can find a equally good home somewhere, because it's such a good event. And I mean, they probably does 3 or 4 a year, and each one, it seems like, is a once-a-year event because it's so big and so popular and so much good stuff is there. I mean, I know like that famous YouTube guy, Mike Burrows from StanceWorks, who's building that F40. Like he made the trek out to go to this event. So it's attracting people, it's attracting cars, and it's really a cool event. And I couldn't have designed or planned a better event myself than what they have going on there. So I support Keith 100% in what he's doing. So it's super cool.
Nice.
Maybe I should see if I can get him to talk to us about it, because I don't know how he did it, but
Yeah. So you get that Crush Club. Last Sunday night, I went to the premiere at Widowmaker Brewing. Our buddies over at the Revival Motoring Podcast did a little film called Bandit.
okay.
So that's Josh, I believe, right?
Yes. Josh
I'm
Garcia.
really bad with names. Yeah. It's basically the main person in the film. But I haven't listened to that show in a while. I listened to it occasionally. So I didn't realize that he had purchased a R32 Volkswagen.
He did, from one of their often returning guests, Scott.
Oh, okay.
Who's an R32 guy.
Yeah, they're cool cars, and I remember when they were new, so it was funny talking about them in the video. They're talking about driving a 20-year-old car cross country.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, yeah, that's an old car now.
Yes, it is. A car that came out the same time when I bought an Evo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
which would also be an
everybody
old
was
car
competing.
now.
Yes. So basically, it was, I don't want to, you should go watch it. It premiered last night on YouTube, so it's out. Go watch it. It's like an hour long.
I have not watched it yet. I intend to.
Because you had to be there in person.
I didn't get to be there in person because I moved away. But I intend to watch it basically because I do like those guys and I want to support what they're doing for sure. And I know that I enjoy road trips, so I'll enjoy watching a road trip video with a friend. So.
Yeah, I have got a quote in the trailer. So, I said it was a love letter to Burt Reynolds' mustache.
Excellent. I watched the trailer. I didn't see your quote, so
it was on Instagram.
Guess I wasn't paying attention.
Because the crop. Yeah, because I was tagged in it. Because the crop, or he tagged us. He tagged our Off Top podcast. It was down the bottom, but it was there. I watched it 3 times.
We're somebody now.
Yeah, I don't. It's like an homage to Smoking the Bandit, and it's about Josh going on a road trip in his R32.
It's basically a love letter to cars, like and road trips, and why we enjoy cars. And it's funny, you and I talked a little bit off podcast about it, and it was like you've done that same trip, and damn it, Josh, we wish we thought of it before you, but we didn't think to film it and release it as a movie. So congratulations. We didn't think to have somebody sponsor us for our trip. We just did it. So you are a smarter man than we are.
Yeah, just not that type of hustle. I don't have that type of hustle. So,
well, if we had somebody else filming, now Josh had somebody else filming. He had Brian Buckley do the filming, and Brian's a good videographer, so I knew that it would be a pretty film, if nothing else. And I think that having that kind of plan put in place. I don't even think it's a hustle. I just think it was a neat idea they came up with, and they executed it. And if there's one thing that the Auto Topic podcast is bad at, it's coming up with plans and executing them. We're very good at coming up with plans, but then we get distracted by old Mitsubishis and executing the actual plan. So maybe we should execute the plan and make some road trip videos.
I know. I do a lot of road trips, but usually I'm in the middle of driving and busy.
And we've talked about this before. You and I both lean in real hard to still photography, and still photography is not, it still is what it used to be, and more than it used to be. But as far as content out there, still photography doesn't do much anymore except for a 3-inch by 3-inch screen on Instagram, right? So it just becomes, it becomes more for us at this point. Like, why do I take pictures? It's for me. It's nice when somebody likes it or shares it on Instagram, but at the same time, it's like I'm taking them to further my photography skills and have memories of the things I did. But at the end of the day, I have thousands and thousands and thousands of pictures that will never be seen by anybody anywhere. So, is what it is.
Well, you took them.
That's what I mean. We do it for us. It's as much as we love to say, like, oh, I take these pictures and I cover this event, but I don't really. It's just for me. I take 100 pictures and I share 5 of them on Instagram, and the rest just live for eternity on my hard drive.
Well, that's my problem. I've tried to do video. I've done some videos. They do okay. There's just not that much. There's not that much incentive to actually do them. So, to spend
unless
the time
we're
on it.
making it a job or trying to make money with it, I think is the problem. So we're not trying to make a living doing this. So to spend the time doing it, we could be doing something else.
Yeah, because you can literally put the lowest effort video out and people will still watch it. So putting maximum effort into a video doesn't seem to add any benefits, really.
And I enjoy putting maximum effort into photography. So
I like to make stuff look really, really nice.
Yep.
And it's a
hobby.
problem that I have, and it's a problem I run into at work sometimes. I'm trying to make stuff really, really nice and extremely professional looking, and people are like, that's cool, we just need it done though.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, fine. I'll put a little less effort in. And it's the same for like making videos, because it was just, you don't even have to do that much and people will still watch it, which is kind of a bummer.
Well, I know our most popular video ever was the one that we made doing the manual hub conversion on your first gen Montero. So
yep.
I will have to actually watch that again myself, because I'm going to be converting the hubs on the Ram 50 Mighty Max to.
Don't use that
hubs,
brand. So. That brand stunk. Just buy the
Warn.
Are they the Warn ones? I don't even remember what I have on there now. I have the ones that everybody does. No, the Aizen ones.
Okay. You had the knockoff ones first, right?
I had the knockoff Warns, yeah. Some other brand because they're really cheap. But the metal got really weird and corroded weird, so don't recommend those.
I shouldn't have as much of an issue with that because I won't have any salt here.
Still, the Aizen ones are a lot better and more robust.
Yeah. Also, I'm at a point in my life now where I can buy the Aizens and not have to buy the cheap knockoffs. So that's what I'll do.
They're not even that much money. You just got to find the right spline count ones. I think the ones in the Montero are $150 for the pair. So,
that's not bad.
No.
Anyway, that's down the road. But I'll be revisiting our video to remind myself how to do it.
Well, maybe you can do a video on it. So there you go.
If we don't need to. We already have one.
Yeah, update it. Like I've got ones on the.
We don't make new videos. They might update an old video. Come on now.
Yeah, I've got ones on the Crosstrek front brakes that I never released. I should keep meaning to do, and all the struts on that car, which probably do really well. But those are just like how-to videos. Like making artsy, fun videos. I haven't had the time to, and I don't know. It's not. Just it's hard when you're doing other stuff, and I applaud the Revival guys for getting it done.
100%.
When it's not your full-time job, it's tricky to do that stuff.
And that's what I mean. He did the effort. He made the thing. He took the trip. He had to take a week vacation from work because he does have a full-time job. Brian had to take a week's vacation from work to film it because he has a full-time job. Like, I think there's a third guy involved too. Like, there's a lot of effort that goes into something like that, and just finding the right people willing to use their personal vacation time to help you film your pet project is, I mean, come on, that's not. I mean, it shows obviously how much Josh is respected in the podcast world here, but at the same time, it's like that's a lot of effort. So I definitely will watch it because I want to make sure that I do support them, and I recommend anybody who's in the automotive sphere to watch it as well. And I'm sure that it will be an hour's worth of entertainment. So there is a dearth of automotive content happening right now, of good automotive content happening right now. So any content is good content, right?
Yeah. And to be fair, I used to put a lot more effort into this podcast, and then we definitely slowed it down because unfortunately, it wasn't going anywhere. And it was easier just to hang out and talk cars instead of do topics.
Well, so what happened in general with the whole podcast world is that the podcast world got oversaturated. And at one point, there were maybe 50 automotive podcasts, so it was cool. It's like, oh, we're number 8 this week, and then now there's 50,000 automotive podcasts, and say what you will, but no matter how much effort we put into something, if our topic isn't Ferraris, Porsches, Lamborghinis, brand new automotive news, then we're going to have a limited audience, period. Regardless of whether somebody enjoys listening to our podcast or thinks that we're the most boring drivel they ever heard. We're going to have our people we want to listen to, people that want to listen to us, our friends that we communicate with every day, and other friends that we don't communicate with as much, but we're going to keep doing it because we enjoy doing it, and we enjoy the people who enjoy it, and that just makes it what it is. So we're not trying to be the world's biggest podcast. We're just trying to be a couple guys talking about cars and meeting some other people who care about cars that are less desirable than what the general public cares about. That's where we're at.
Yeah. What else happened in car content world, though?
Before we get there, we can you know what? I'll come back. Remind me to come back.
Okay.
So the big thing right now is that Motor Trend is dissolving their video arm. So
the pivot to no video.
Yes, yeah. Well, I don't think it's because they're going to no video. I think it's because they were sold to a private equity firm who doesn't care and saw something that was just not making enough money to put any money back into and said, we don't care about this. Goodbye. So they've pretty much eliminated all of that. So what that means for people that have that particular app that they were using, which was the first thing to go, it actually was on the Discovery app, which was actually kind of neat because the Discovery app also had Discovery shows and other networks. But the big one for me, I know that you disagree, Andrew, but I thoroughly enjoy the Roadkill. And that's the reason I had the app and the Discovery app, and that is going away. So Roadkill, Roadkill Garage, Hot Rod, Dirt Every Day already stopped. There's a whole host of shows that were, in my opinion, good automotive content that are going to be gone. So that is unfortunate. One thing I have learned since all of this is that the two guys that do Roadkill most of the time, so David Freiberger and Mike Finnegan, never owned the actual IP of Roadkill. So they were just employees of the Motor Trend Hot Rod world, and they started making videos for Hot Rod, and those videos took off. And ever since the beginning, it's been a company project, not their own personal project, even though it seemed like it was a personal project because they were given 100% control of the content every episode they shot, which is pretty rare in corporate video world anyway, but they made it work. So all the bad stuff that I complained about in the past, like, Roadkill going behind a paywall, had nothing to do with those guys. That was because the corporate companies were like, this is how we're doing it. You don't have a choice. We'll allow you to keep making the content you want to make, but this needs to happen this way. So kind of interesting. That being said, because it happened organically, none of them have any kind of like a non-compete clause. So what it sounds like is that they're going to do as much content as they can on their own and together on YouTube. So I don't think it'll be the same because the budget obviously will be significantly less, at least at first, unless it takes off that way. I think that people that enjoy their content will hopefully still have that kind of content to look forward to. It'll be harder to find what you want to watch, obviously, because it won't be a convenient format as it was before. But we'll see what happens. And I'm sure they'll wind up landing somewhere, and somebody with some money will probably back it, and because they'll see, they know how popular it is, and
maybe
even if
or it just lives on YouTube.
Maybe it does, and maybe it's just their own individual channels. They build their own things and do their own stuff. So every host that I of the shows that I watched has their own YouTube channel. So
Yeah, maybe the answer was being independent and not being beholden
100%.
to corporations.
And like I said, I don't know what their plan is, but I think we're still going to see content from them, and it won't be under the Roadkill name anymore. But whatever, it's fine. I've been watching a lot of Finnegan's content without being under Roadkill, so it's good.
I mean, I was reading an interesting thing, talking about OnlyFans, and yeah, it's a lot of like
there's a pivot,
porn type stuff. Well,
sure.
They give back like 80% of profits to the creators. So apparently the company is looking into expanding into other things.
Into non-adult content.
You might have an OnlyFans for, car content, and then you're paying whatever the person wants you to pay them per month.
Yeah, that sounds rough.
The majority of that goes to the person.
Which would be cool.
They make more money than doing YouTube.
Say that's the YouTube model, but I feel like they probably have to name. They had to rename the network because I think that branding is already. That branding has been solidified for a while, so I don't think they'll change that around.
Well, it's like having a Patreon or something.
100%. I was going to say. So Instagram tried doing this. No, you subscribed. Yeah. Yes, this podcast didn't make any money. What are we doing now, Andrew? No. So I know Instagram.
Topic OnlyFans.
Yeah, Instagram has a thing where you people can subscribe to your channel to get exclusive content, and there's a bunch of that stuff happening. But I think the issue is getting people to that new platform. Like people went to YouTube because it was free.
I won't even subscribe to other podcasts. I wouldn't even have this podcast be subscription because I wouldn't do it myself because there's just too many podcasts. I can't afford to subscribe to all these things.
And I'm not even saying subscribe to a podcast. I'm talking about the video content. Like
same thing with video content. It's got to be bundled with something else. I can't pay for one video thing.
And that's what I mean. Like YouTube is what it is because it doesn't cost you, the consumer, to watch it. Now, obviously, that's why they control the money the way they control the money, and they don't pay their content creators very much. But I don't know. There's definitely an answer in there somewhere. I just don't know what it is. So, but that's why I'm not in a building a new online revenue stream company position because I don't know what that position is. I know that YouTube became the way it is because it was free, and they can control their revenue and control what they pay their creators because it is free. So they're not beholden to the person creating the video. They're beholden to the advertisers that pay them to advertise on said videos. So that's where the issue arises. You need something that is accessible and everybody gets paid the same chunk without me having to subscribe to individual things. Because like you said, I'm not going to subscribe to one person's video content if it's only that one person. Because that becomes quickly out of hand when, I want to see these 7 different people. And now I'm paying however much for each content. It's tough. So I don't have an answer. But I truly will miss Roadkill. I know you have a different opinion on it, but I will truly miss it. I've seen every episode since the beginning, and all the auxiliary shows I've also watched, and I really enjoy what they do. And obviously a lot of people do, but we'll see what happens in the future. I hope the content doesn't go away. They built a lot of cool cars, and it sounds like the Motor Trend network is allowing the hosts first right of refusal at purchasing the cars. So hopefully they'll give them deals which they can afford them because there's some cool stuff out there, and they can continue to do the projects with the cars that I've come to care about over the years. So
well, it's wild to me. Like there was a lot of branding. There was like Hot Wheels versions of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll still have that with individual things because I think maybe it was on YouTube I got served a Hot Wheels ad, or maybe it was on Instagram, and they literally went through all these automotive influencers that I recognize, talking about Hot Wheels and how much they like it, and like, one of them was like Larry Chen, the other one was what's the drift guy, Ryan Turek.
Yep.
A couple other people that recognize, and like, so there's all those tie-ins as an influencer. You get that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
So-
the hustle becomes the influencer or the content creator. I hate the word influencer because I like
That's what
content.
it is.
I like content creator better.
Yeah.
But the content creator also needs to become a shrewd business person and make these deals with people. Like, nobody's going to come to you unless you're some superstar. Nobody's coming to you and being like, "Hey, I want to do a Hot Wheels of your car." It has to be, "Hey, I think I can bring this to your brand. If you make a Hot Wheels of my car, I'll give you these many, this much sales and this much promotion." And unfortunately, the Auto Off Topic brand doesn't reach far enough to get a Hot Wheels Dodge Colt. So,
Yeah.
let's
And
tie
I
in with
just,
somebody else.
I mean, I don't in general watch a lot of YouTube anyways, so I just don't get it.
I do and I don't. I watch a lot of stuff on YouTube that is on regular television, but later on I watch it on YouTube. And like networks that have certain shows that I know I like segments of, I'll watch on YouTube. And there is some automotive content that I know how to find just for many years of watching. I watch a lot of, I don't know if you're aware of Ultimate Adventure, the UA, they call it.
Nope.
It's an off-road group. This is the 25th year, and it's been on YouTube for probably 10 or 15 of those years. But they do a week-long off-road trip with like 20 trucks. It's not overlanding. It's like a lot of hardcore rock crawling. So these trucks are not built for street use, really, but they use them. It's kind of like the off-roading equivalent of Hot Rod Drag Week. You take the most extreme off-road vehicle and you use it for like also driving to each thing. And it became a very entertaining thing. And I watch that and stuff along those lines. I do enjoy watching. So there is some stuff I watch on YouTube, but I certainly don't consume it like they want me to. That's for sure.
Yeah, I've found some stuff that's like vintage rally channels that are just like 40-minute long videos of entire rallies with no commentary, just the ambient background noise.
Yep.
Like, so I'll watch stuff like that, or a lot of the racing series that are outside of the United States will stream on YouTube here without any firewalls or anything. So that's cool. Like, I watched some of the Macau race Grand Prix stuff the other day. There's like the Nürburgring 24-hour races are on YouTube, so that sort of stuff's really cool.
Sure, and I watched a lot of the recaps of even American races they don't have time to watch.
Yep.
Like, I didn't watch the Las Vegas F1 race last night. I'll probably watch the recap on YouTube. Like, I don't have time, obviously, to watch every race that I want to watch. So,
but strangely, in general, I find watching just pure automotive content kind of boring. I don't know. Like, it's not often I want to watch people work on a car. As strange as that sounds, I used to, but now I'm like, I don't. Maybe I should just go do work on my own car. I don't need to watch somebody else do it. It's weird like that. I don't know.
I find it provides motivation.
Okay.
As long as it's, an accurate portrayal of what it's like working on a car. That's why I never was into, and you never were either, the Discovery Channel automotive shows, that presented working on a car as something that it's not. Neither one of us shed a tear when Gas Monkey Garage went away, or I don't know, any of the myriad of shows that were on there. I can't think of the names of any other ones right now, but they all had the same formulaic reality show kind of deal, and they're all terrible. And they didn't show the realistic life of actually working on a car, and didn't provide motivation. They just aggravated because, like, that's not how you do this. I think the only one that ever even like hit with me would be like Wheeler Dealers, because they really worked on cars, and they were very methodical about it, and I enjoyed a lot of episodes of Wheeler Dealers in the early days. I haven't watched it in years. I know they're still making it, but I'm assuming it's still the same. But I enjoyed that kind of stuff. So I do enjoy some automotive content. I like the combination of working on the car with a desired goal and using the car afterwards, because that's sort of how I work on cars. I have a hard time getting involved in a project if it doesn't have an end goal or a use case, which is why I set myself end goals and use cases a lot. And I'm sure this is an episode that would be good for a auto off topic mental health podcast, but I need that end goal. Like, that's why I set this date for this Saturday for that 4 till 4 event to get the truck running, because I knew I needed to have a solid truck needs to run by this day. Oh, why this day? I don't know, arbitrary. Oh, there's an event that day? Now I'm going to have the truck ready. So that's... I enjoyed shows that had that same thing, which I think is what I liked about Roadkill. You know, Roadkill has that, go get a car. This car hasn't run in 20 years. What's the plan? Oh, we have to make it to this car show in, Texas by Thursday night. Okay, cool. Let's do it. So it really resonated with how I am with cars. So I think that's why I liked it. So anyway. Shed a tear myself personally for Roadkill, and Hot Rod Garage I liked as well, but particularly for Roadkill. So
You said there's something you want to go to before we got onto that
tangent?
Oh
yeah, project update. My Camaro's here.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
That's a big update.
Huge.
Your Camaro has finally gone to retire in the desert.
It has, with me, who's retired. Sure. Yeah, no, the Camaro's here. The whole impetus for building the garage was because my father wanted the Camaro out of his house. He's building
Casa de Camaro.
Yes, he's building an extension on his garage, and where the extension is going is where the Camaro was stored in an enclosed trailer. So he was like, "Hey, I would really like this car out of here so I can, expand my garage." And I was like, "Oh, you've been storing it for free forever. Why don't you keep storing it for free forever for me?" But it's fine. I understand. So we made the garage happen. I don't want to say that's the only reason I built the garage. Obviously, the garage was a plan from day one, but that was the push we needed. Again, talking about that project car thing, right? You need a date, like you need a reason. There it is again. Like, we had a reason to make the garage go and work and become a thing, so we did. So the car's here now. It came on a carrier Tuesday of this past week. The same carrier that we used for your Volvo. What I did not know is it's also the same carrier that I used for both the Colt and the Starion.
Well, we didn't realize that the two drivers are related. Are they brothers or brother-in-law?
So what happened was, when I did the Colt and the Starion, I had gotten a quote through UShip and then went through the broker Montoway.
Right.
And the same thing happened with your Volvo. Now, when the guy came to pick up your Volvo, the car did not run, which makes it harder sometimes to get a transport truck.
He knew that. That was part of the quote.
He knew it going into it for sure, but he was super accommodating for that particular car.
Yeah.
He showed up at my house with just a Dodge Ram and a single car trailer, so he could bring it to his truck, so he could load it up carefully and have it where it needed to be, and not have to deal with loading up a dead car on the side of the street. And then he was extra nice and dropped it off at your house instead of somewhere else in town, like other drivers have done in the past. So we saved his number to call him direct.
I threw him a hundo for that too.
Yeah, I also tipped the driver $100 this time too, because I want to keep them in our good graces now. Anyway, so we called him direct when it came time to bring the Camaro from the East Coast to the West Coast. And he said, "Yep, not a problem. We'll get it taken care of." His name is, I thought it was Doran.
Yeah, that was Doran too.
Well, the other guy calls him Doreen, which I thought was funny because I feel like that's the feminine version of the name. But either way, Doran or Doreen, I called him directly, and he said, "All right, let me get you some info, and I'll call you right back." He called me back with a price. The price was about what I expected, and he said it'll be picked up by next Tuesday or whatever he said at the time. This was 3 weeks ago. And I was like, "All right, cool." So He did not pick the car up. I did not know that. The person who picked the car up had a different phone number, which again I didn't
Yep.
care. I know that like these guys, share and trade jobs all the time because it's a big country and they're all over it. So if one of them's not in Massachusetts and the other one is, they'll find somebody they know and trust to do it, which is fine. I knew it was a legit carrier. He wouldn't, put me on a hotshot trailer with no insurance. He made sure that it was a good carrier. So the car got here. Unfortunately, it was dead on the truck when it got here. So it couldn't start it on the truck. So the driver seemed a little annoyed with that. But it had been moved on the truck twice and it started both those times. So I don't feel too bad. Go down there. And I was like, it must be a battery issue. We'll just jump it. And he goes, the problem is it's on the bottom of the truck in the very front. He goes, and with the cars on top, he goes, you can't open the hood. He goes, in order to open the hood, I had to move the top rack up. And I can't move the top rack up because then the car in front on top of it and the car behind it would touch when the rack got moved, the way the rack was. He's like, so we can't really do that. And I was like, oh, okay. So he pushed it off the truck. And I was talking to the guy afterwards and just talking to him about going direct instead of going through the broker. So I told him how we had dealt with Doran and how everything went really well. And, he took care of us. And the last time, that particular driver who came out, be back up a little bit. The driver who dropped the Camaro off was like, that address sounds familiar. I think I brought you a car before. And I was like, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. So I looked up the picture. He sent me a picture of the Camaro on the truck with his truck. I looked up the picture of the Starion on the Colt when it arrived, and it was the same truck. It's Old School Transport, actually, is the name of the company.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Yep, which is also the same as Doran's company. But Doran has a red truck, and George has a gray truck. Doran has a gray truck, and George has a red truck. That's the only difference.
Doran's truck is older, or older looking,
but it's newer.
Yeah, but it's
a
like the
newer
more
truck.
traditional.
It's a more like square nose, whereas George's truck has the more like Kenworth style arrow nose.
Yeah.
So I think it's a Peterbilt versus a Kenworth. Is the difference.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I was chatting with him, and I was like, yeah, well, I used you last time. I was like, but I lost your number, and I was annoyed because I wanted to call you directly. He's like, and then another friend of mine had a car moved from here back out there, and the guy's name was Doran, and he took care of us. He goes, and I'm surprised that he wound up giving the job to you, which is cool because I was trying to get you directly anyway. He's like, oh no. He goes, that's my brother-in-law. I was like, oh, okay. He's like, yeah, we run two trucks back and forth all the time. So there's always one of us is, on one side of the country or the other normally. So one of us can get something done pretty quickly. And I was like, all right, that's cool. Well, now I have both your numbers and we'll just keep doing this. I said, I have still at least 2 cars on the East Coast that have to come here. I said, and most of my friends out there are pretty dumb and we buy more cars that are out here. So I'm sure we'll be using you some more. So I also threw him $100 tip because it's the right thing to do. And he took care of us and he took care of my car and all was well. So yeah, the Camaro's here.
Nice.
Super stoked. I actually drove it to the 67th and Bell car show just because I had to. It's close enough that I wasn't worried about going through the car first or putting new tires on or anything. I was like, I gotta go. We gotta go. So Naomi and I went to that show and it had its debut. We got there pretty late. The show was pretty much ending, so it was dark already, but just needed to do it, right? To celebrate the accomplishment of having the car here.
It's convertible weather out there now, isn't it?
It was a little on the chilly side and it was perfect.
No,
it was probably
sad. So sad for you.
It was like 58 degrees or so. Yeah, it was wonderful.
Oh.
Yeah. But the top was down, of course. So it's definitely convertible weather. Oh, it's the perfect time of year to get a convertible out here. Just before actual winter. Love it. So super excited it's here. It feels different having it here. I don't know how to explain that. I think this is just because it's the quick backstory of the car. My dad bought it when I was 8 years old with the intention of giving it to me when I had my driver's license, provided I wasn't an absolute shithead. And apparently I passed the test because I got it. I've probably been driving it since I was 17 or 18 years old. And even now in my 40s, whenever I use it, the car has always just been at my dad's house. Because I always stored it there because I never had a garage. So I think having the car here is just, it's so different because it feels like it's truly my car to use as I please and wish. Not that my father wouldn't let me use the car whenever I wanted because it was my car and he gave it to me many, many years ago. But it was always like I had to go to my dad's house to get the car out. So it always kind of had that, like, it's not a bad thing. It was just different. And now that the car's here, just taking it out of my own house and going somewhere in it and coming back and putting away at my own house was just, it was a different feeling. I don't know how to explain it, but it was cool. It made me very happy, and I'm glad we built a garage. So that project will be coming soon. It does need some tires and it needs some front end work and
Is it parked in the garage?
What's that?
Is it parked in the garage?
It's not currently in the garage, but it will be in the garage by tonight.
Nice.
So I had to move some stuff around, and it was busy this week. I had a brand new car cover for it, so it's been tucked away in the backyard behind the fence at the garage, not in the garage, but it'll be in the garage today. So yeah, I'm excited. It will be used regularly once I fix the things that need to be fixed. So, anyway, so yeah, that was a big, not really a project car update, but a big car update here.
Cool.
Yeah.
Things I didn't think I would be talking about on this podcast is Jaguar.
Yeah.
They
laid an egg.
No press is bad press.
Maybe. I mean, whatever they're teasing better be one hell of a car, or else they pretty much sunk their whole brand.
Yeah, so they decided to do a rebrand with what feels like a rebrand starter pack that you just get from some random ad agency.
Yeah, it was like AI for sure was involved with this,
but maybe like AI wrote the pitch, but like the people in it were real.
Oh, yeah, I'm not saying the film was AI. I'm just saying the idea was AI.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
Somebody
wrote a prompt. Hey, we're a company. We want to rebrand. Generic company, generic product. What do we do? We want to be for everybody.
Vibrant colors with multinational people. And that's fine. It's just like it. I was reading the Utopian, and Jason Trozinski rightfully pointed out that like that aesthetic that they used is like 20 years old. Like it's been done for
over and
companies
over
that
again.
want to rebrand. Yeah, it's not.
I think earlier when we were talking about it pre-show, you said perfume brand was a reminded you.
Yeah.
I completely agree with that. It's a perfume brand style.
I don't mind the logo and the font. It's whatever.
It's boring.
The video's kind of odd, but also again, don't really care. It just felt a little overused and didn't really match with what they were saying, like break molds, copy nothing. Sure felt like it was derivative.
Yeah, very much so.
So I don't even know what the car they had is, like a weird teaser of like it looks like a Chrysler Crossfire.
It looks like a commercial air conditioner. That's what I saw.
Yeah.
So here's the deal.
And then
maybe they're copying nothing, as in no car company has ever done this. Maybe that's what they're going for. But
maybe
it's very odd. Their next commercial better have a car in it, because having a car commercial with no car. I mean, I guess it worked for Lexus.
People have done that. Yeah. Lexus did that. No, not Lexus. Infinity did that.
Infinity? Sorry, yeah.
The Q45 commercials had no Q45 in them.
I knew it was one of them.
They were quite avant-garde. But I don't know.
And then what's old? I mean,
they were to the point where they were
Lexus.
Yeah, they're to the point where they were parodied by SNL. So
yeah, and this will be too. I'm sure of it.
Sure, yeah. then I had to think about what cars does Jaguar actually make right now? Because I couldn't remember the last time I saw one.
F-Pace, E-Pace.
So they're not even cars. They make it crossover SUVs.
Yep.
So there's that. But yeah, some of them are full electric. Some are hybrids, maybe. I don't. But they're very generic looking. They're just generic egg
they look
SUVs.
they look like store brand luxury SUV.
I don't know why, because they're usually Jaguar dealers are usually partnered with like a Land Rover dealer. So walking to a Land Rover dealer or
JLR, Jaguar Land Rover.
Okay, I don't know why you wouldn't just buy a Land Rover if that's what you want, because they're better looking if you're going to buy that type of SUV, in my opinion.
Yeah, I do not know. I think Jaguar still makes a sedan too. Don't they make the F-Type?
I have it
still?
right here. Let's see.
Yeah, they have the
Vehicles.
XF sedan and the F-Type coupe. They still make those.
XF,
which is a
F-Type,
sedan.
coupe. Oh, see, okay. If I saw that F-Type coupe in traffic and didn't look very close to it, I'd be like, "Oh, that's an Aston." Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that not like? Is it not share with an Aston? I don't know. Like,
I don't know.
Although that's a
I think it's a
reasonable
good-looking
price,
car.
$77,000 for like a coupe like that.
Sure. Yeah. It puts it not much more than a Supra. It's a better car than a Supra, or maybe a more fancy car than a Supra. What's like the XF?
I don't know.
The XF just looks like a generic sedan. The I-Pace is a generic.
Really bad looking.
Yes, the proportions are terrible. That being said, the I-Pace I am very familiar with.
Is it popular out there?
What the Waymo?
Special vehicle operations.
Waymo.
Oh, that's what a Waymo is? I thought it was a Volvo.
Nope. Every Waymo is a Jaguar I-Pace.
Weird.
Yep.
F-Pace
So I see
SVR edition 1988. Weird. That's own one of 394. F-Type ZP edition. So, okay. Did I lose you? You're still here.
No, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay.
I'm listening to you learn that Jaguar still makes cars.
Yeah, really, truly. I don't know what these like. There's a whole section here on the website, special vehicle operations. So that brings us to the. This Jaguar rebrand is separate from that Jaguar car that came out with a TWR and Magnus Walker.
Oh, that's not even Jaguar. Jaguar has nothing to do with
separate.
That. Yeah,
just happened to hit the same week.
It happened to hit the same week. Yeah, that car is also terrible. I think,
or fortunate.
Yeah.
So what did that car start as? I don't even know what those are.
XJS.
So yeah, they're pretty cool. And Tom Waukesha Racing TWR, same as the 850 race cars.
Yep.
Raced those in the 80s. They were like green and white. I've got a diecast one from Tarmac Works, I think. Pretty cool looking.
Super cool car.
And I forget he's a pretty popular sort of car render designer, right?
The Kaiser.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of his stuff is kind of cool. I think he did the Huckster. I feel like
he may have, but what I dislike about this man, or that's harsh. What I dislike about his designs is that they're all very they're over the top, and I am very anti cutting fenders off cars to put giant wheels on, and therefore definitely ruining the sheet metal and probably ruining the driving experience of the cars. And that's what all of his stuff is. It's all very like you can buy Kaiser body kits for E36s.
Yeah, you're just modernizing older stuff, I guess. I like the car. I think it's pretty cool looking.
I like the interior. It's way overdone. The headlights are terrible.
Like
the weird arch above the fender is terrible.
Anytime you put LED round headlights in a car,
That's the
Terrible.
worst thing you can ever do.
No.
It is a crime against all cars.
Yep.
It's terrible. That's uniformly terrible. Don't do that.
So,
But
but
the rest of it,
thing-
I like the rest of it. I think it's
Nope.
kind of cool. It's got that silhouette body style.
Nope, I don't like it. Over the top. There's already been silhouette Jaguars that are way better looking. But the other problem I have with it is, and maybe this is his whole point based on the name, but do you know the name of Kai's body kit company?
Nope.
It's LTO, which
Okay.
is Live to Offend.
Okay.
So that gives me real, like, locally hated energy, and I don't like it. And his E36s do offend me because they are like 3.5 feet wider than a stock E36, and I don't understand why. And I guarantee you it doesn't help the car in any way other than show car kind of status. So I just don't get it. I don't like that. It's not for me either. So maybe that's why. But when your company's called Live to Offend, I'm going to instantly hate you and your product. So that's part of the problem.
All right. Got you.
Yeah,
Got
I'm
you.
offended. He lived to offend Brad, and he pulled off his job completely. I am offended. I do not like it. I liked some of his stuff, but most of it's over the top. There's a Mark II Volkswagen making the rounds right now that he designed. I don't know if you've seen that recently. It was at SEMA. It's got a rear-engined, maybe VR6. Huge box flares that are like 3 feet wide per side. It's just dumb. It has like a skull that opens and closes for the air intake. Like it's really bad. And that's just what I think whenever I see any of his stuff is all that bad stuff. And I don't like the Jaguar. It adds too much. It's going for that silhouette racer style, but it has too much swoopiness to it for a car that has like stately angular lines. And the biggest offensive part to me is on the front fender. It has that like extra bulbous part for the wheel to fit because it has 48-inch wheels on it. So I don't know. And what they're trying to do with it is they're trying to do a Singer style production run, and he's touting it as his first production car I've ever built. Like, it's not a production car, it's still a custom. Like, just because you make 5 or 10 of them doesn't make it a production car. It's still a custom car. You're just making the same custom car over and over again. You're not making a production car. So, but supposedly they're trying to sell them as somehow brand new cars, as production cars. Trying to do the Singer model with them. But are there enough people that care about XJSs to Singerize one? Maybe. I don't know. It just seems the whole thing is contrived and odd, and I hate it. I don't like things and people, and life is terrible. So that's where I'm at.
Okay.
It feeds right into that rich guy car culture that is ruining the car hobby, and I just don't like it. Here we are talking about it, and it's this thing that's going to be, $350,000 built bespoke for some rich guy who will park it in a garage and never use it anyway. So I guess I shouldn't care.
Yeah, probably not. I think it's a cool looking car. I like the interior color. I like the way it was done.
Oh, but listen, I like Roadkill. You like Kai's Jaguars. Sometimes we're just not going to agree. So
yeah, there's a lot of stuff in Roadkill that I don't like that they did. So, and a lot of cause and effect, I think. So,
sure.
I think that a lot of good cars got ruined because of the Roadkill effect of people trying to emulate it. So,
possibly, but I don't blame Roadkill for that because they started with crap cars every time. So
yeah, but
yeah, looking at pictures of this Resto Mod, I guess call it XJS. They call it, the name is also dumb. It's called Supercat. I don't like that.
See, I thought it's cool. I like it.
The back bumper is offensive. I don't like it. There's not much that's any good. So the wheels are cool. It has the same style wheels that the TWR race car had in the late 80s, so that's cool. So
It's called the Super Cat. 60% of the time, it's 100% of the time.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, Kaisel Salim, I think is his full name.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah,
I just can't remember it because I'm bad with names.
yep. Whatever. It's not my thing, but again, whatever. It's not for me either. And I like XJSs, and maybe I think that I'll wind up not ever being able to buy one now because they'll be ruined by all these people. Because
I only like the race car ones. Those are the only ones that were ever cool. The rest of them look boring, and I don't care about it at all.
But that's where I'm at with most cars. Most cars I like because there's a race car version of it somewhere. I love your G20 because it's a Primera race car. I love Starions because I love the Starion touring cars and rally cars. I love the Colts because I love the Colt rally cars. The majority of cars that I like, I'm not saying all, but the majority is because there's a race car version that I picture it as in my head when I drive it. So,
well, how many XJSs are even left? I haven't seen one of those in forever.
Oh my god,
really?
There are so many of them. Working on the auction side of things, I'd say they're second only to like Mercedes SL convertibles from this.
I was gonna say those. Yeah, those Mercedes that everybody has, and everybody thinks they're worth a lot of money.
It's the same crowd that also has these Jaguars. They all are parked in garages. You never see them. They have 0 miles on them because they're not driven. They never run right. They're just, every time I see one that's built nicely, there's one that is in the West Coast. I forget if it's here or California that I've seen it, but it has the TWR style to it. It's got like mesh Fisk wheels on it. But it's been repowered by a big turbo 2JZ and a 6-speed, and it's like, yes, that car is cool. So I'm into hot rod ones, but just not this particular hot rod one because I don't know. I think it ruins the pretty car. So whatever. I'm grumpy once again. Andrew, you've made me the grumpy old man at the end of the podcast, and I don't like it.
Hey, you know what's a good place to argue this with us? In the Discord. Come join our Discord.
I feel it was pretty much 50-50.
Free. We do not charge extra to join our Discord.
I believe it was like
free access to us.
50-50 on the Discord as well for
I think so too.
Love and hate for the vehicle. So
but yeah, that's the thing. Free podcast, free Discord, free low effort content.
Yep. And once we get bought out by a private equity firm, we'll also be canceled. So it's fine.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie, if you pay me enough, I will sell out.
100%.
Gotta be enough.
Done.
Everybody's got a number. I get a number.
My number happens to change every month with when I make out of the payment on my house. But if somebody came in and was like, "Here, your house is paid off," I'm like, "I'm sold out." Maybe not much. Maybe like, "Hey, here's an Evo. Have a nice day." And I'm like, "All right, cool."
For some reason,
what am I chilling here?
If the name of this podcast was some hot name that they wanted, I'd probably sell it.
Well, hey, listen, Jaguar is doing some wild stuff with the rebrand. Maybe the next car will be called the Off Topic, and the automatic version will be the Jaguar Automatic Off Topic. And we'll be sitting on a gold mine, Andrew, until they hear this episode and they sue us and they win. Damn it. Nope.
All right.
Yeah, no, I'm ready to sell out. So bring me the offer. I will pitch your product before and after every episode.
Maybe if we like it.
If we're enough money, I don't have to like it.
I have some standards. I'd like to think I do, but
I do have standards, but those standards go away with money, as we just said. That's exactly what you just said. So drop an Evo off in my driveway, and I will pitch your product. Is what
all
it
right.
is.
You can follow the podcast Out Off Topic on Facebook if you're still on there. Out Off Topic on Instagram. Out Off Topic on Threads.
I'm Race Nanger on Instagram and Threads. There's also Skill Autocast. And I should throw some stuff. I think I have some stuff up on there because now you can tag accounts. It makes it a lot easier.
Yeah. It also makes it so you don't have to follow both, but please follow both for numbers anyway.
Yes. And if you haven't reviewed the podcast in a while, go on your prospective listening apps and do a little review. 5 stars, please. That would help us out. Get a few more listeners, and then drive them away. No, just kidding.
Yeah. Listen, at the end of this receipt, there's a little number you can call and do a survey, and you might win nothing. So
yes, exactly.
You might win.
You know what?
Whenever, to mail you something, and I won't mail it to you ever.
Whenever I get like texts after some place that I bought something at, and it's like review this employee, I'm like 5 stars. I don't care.
Unless they're
the
terrible.
worst service ever. Yeah,
no,
but like
there's a time.
Maybe, but most of it, it's like I had an interaction with them for literally 2 minutes. I don't care. 5 stars.
Yeah,
because I'm sure it helps them out.
Yeah, Tom at Taco Bell, he made the best generic burrito I ever had. 5 stars. 5 stars, Tom.
All right, cool.
Even though he did.
Where can they find you, Brad?
All the places you just said for the generic podcast ones, so the shared podcast ones, I should say. And they can find me on Instagram and Threads at TSISS.
All right, cool. As always, keep cars analog and aim for the roses.